So you may have noticed if you've followed many of my videos on YouTube that I am really focused on the Rider-waite deck and at times the Druidcraft deck. And that's because I love the symbolism, particularly in the Rider-waite deck. And today I wanted to have a quick overlook at the cups in the Rider-waite deck. So let's start, and I think it's important to remember with tarot, it's not about memorizing details. I think it's impossible to memorize or to write down all the cross connections, all the details. It's about looking for the details, understanding them, and then when you do a tarot reading, it's about looking at the cards and spotting the details that are there for that reading. So today I want to look at cups, and the first few cards are nice and simple. They are when every cup in the image is held. So we have the Two of Cups. That is an equal, open, loving, emotionally honest relationship. May or may not be romantic, but it's an equal relationship. We have the Knight of Cups. He is led by his heart chakra, his cup representing love, and his heart is before him, but he's holding it. He's in control of it. And the Three of Cups, similar to the Two of Cups, it's just that it's a more open friendship circle. Often this is soul friendships, circles, celebration, friendships coming together, rather than a friendship or romantic relationship between two people. So those are the cards where, you know, there's a cup held and every cup is held. When we look at the court cards, there is a clear link between the Page of Cups. This is the only cup with something coming out of it, the fish. And to me, the fish represent the ocean behind him, the water behind him represents the collective unconscious, the divine, the Akashic records, the heart center, whatever you would call that. And the fish is a message from that. So the Page of Cups is in contact, in connection with his psychic abilities, his creativity, his heart center. The king does not have a fish in his cup, but if you look carefully, he's wearing a fish around his neck. It's as if, I always feel with the king, it's as if he's got detached from his heart center, from the psychic abilities. We've got a fish in the water and we've got a fish around his neck, but he is looking at neither. He has set boundaries around his psychic or emotional connection. He has built a wall around his heart. If this is for a temporary reason, if this is because you've just had a big argument but you still got to go to work and do your job, that's fine. But I've often seen this card represent someone in a relationship where they're not happy, but they feel dutifully obliged to stay in this relationship. They are doing the right thing. Notice how his foot is kind of peeking out. I always think with this king, he wants to reconnect with the water. He wants to reconnect with the fish that he has symbolized around his neck, or the fish that he is looking away from in the water. Because for me, the queens each represent the most intensity of their suit. And here we have the Queen of Cups. Now, the first thing to notice is how she's holding the cup. If I just swap the cards around, you can see everyone else holds the cup like this. She holds the cup from underneath, which is very similar to the Ace of Cups. So to me, that is linked to the Ace of Cups. That's what she's holding there. And then, of course, hers is the only cup that is quite so fancy as this. It has a lid on it. But they are black-winged angels on either side. It seems to have engravings and a red crystal, who knows, a ruby there. It is a grand cup, and she is absorbed in it. Unlike the King of Cups, who is on his concrete platform with his foot kind of reaching out, just tip it into the ocean. It's hard to tell, very much like the High Priestess, where her dress starts and the water, where her dress finishes and the water starts. She is as one with the water. Why is her cup like this? I think this is the cup. I think if we go back to the Ace of Cups, we have engraving on there. We have bells on there. It is an embellished cup. I like to think that this cup in the Queen of Cups is her soul. The black winged angels, we all have a darker side to our soul. We all have parts of ourselves that we're less comfortable with, things about our personality or our past that we would maybe rather forget. We've all got that side to us. The lid, I always think this is a bit like Pandora's box. Once you start going into the heart center, once you start looking at your entire heart, you're going to find the good and the bad. You're going to find things that you wish you hadn't found and things that you are incredibly grateful you have found. I also think with the black winged angels, it, it's a dangerous game because it's very easy to become self-obsessed when we do this. It's very easy to become over-focused on our own emotions. And with the lid on that chalice, I think there is a time to stop and turn away from our own emotions and to be more grounded and more practical and more logical. No one of the suits is better than any of the others. They are meant to be balanced. So I always feel with the Queen of Cups there is a sense of excess there. So the Queen is holding her chalice, very similar to the Ace of Cups. There's a lot of imagery in here. My understanding of this chalice, and I'm not suggesting that this is the understanding, but my research led me to believe that that is not a W on the chalice, but it is an M. It's meant to be seen when you drink from it, and it's linked to the Christian imagery from this deck. So to me, this is a link to Mary, the Mother of Christ, or perhaps Mary Magdalene, but I believe it's more likely to be Mary, the Mother of Christ, which would then really link the pagan imagery of the cup or the chalice or the cauldron as linking to the womb, because obviously Mary gave birth to Christ. So here we have the cup with the M on it. The next sort of group of cups is cups where they're not all held. It's fascinating to notice that that with the Four of Cups, it isn't held in the same way as the Ace or the Queen. And then I sometimes wonder, I always link this to the Ace of Cups, but maybe it isn't the only cup there. Maybe it's not the sort of the single seat of the divine as the Ace of Cups or the Queen of Cups is. Maybe it's just another option. Maybe this is sort of, although it is the hand of a divine because it's coming from the cloud, maybe we're supposed to look for that from someone else, from a human person. I'm not suggesting any clear-cut answers here. I'm just suggesting thoughts to consider, things to note if you're doing a spread and you get cups. If you've seen my other videos, you'll know that I dislike this card intensely. I think it's the darkest card in the deck, and I will stand by that decision. But it's interesting to note that only one person is holding a cup here. Not two, and not three. And maybe that's one of the reasons why I get that sense of control, because one person is holding the cup. Of course, we have the Five of Cups, which very classically shows 3 cups down and 2 cups up. Some things are lost, but some things are still available to us. We have the cards where there are no cups being held. They're more dreamlike. They're not quite real. They don't feel maybe quite as concrete as some of the other cards, cup cards. Even with the Eight of Cups, which is a card I really like, where I don't necessarily think he's leaving them behind. I think he's moving to a higher vantage point with that eclipse there to get a better view. But nobody is holding the cups. It's as if he's distancing himself from his heart center and rising up to a higher perspective point. Perhaps the place of eagle, I always think of that, going to the head space to look back. And we have the Ten of Cups. Time and time again, I get this for clients who are in a really dark place. And I always say, I link this to the both to the artist and to the author having Christian backgrounds. And I always talk about the Ten of Cups, the cups in the rainbow being God's promise. Again, that dreaminess. They are not held. They are not in our grasp, as it were. There is a promise there. So if you're getting this card and you're not in that happy place, then I very often think with the Ten of Cups, it's the promise of happiness. Of course, there are two non-cups cards where there is a cup. There is the ace, the magician, the number one, with all of the suits there represented. Again, he's not holding the cup. Is that linking it to the promise there with the number one? And we have Temperance with the two cups and the water flowing between them. To me, Temperance is all about blending. To temper is to water down. We've got the mixing of the fire symbols here with the sun and the sun glyph and the upright triangle and the red fiery wings, and then obviously we've got all the water symbolism. It's the blending of two things. So we can but presume that there is something different in each cup. And of course, the only cup card where we're really shown, apart from Temperance, what might be in the cup is the Five of Cups. Is it, and I always think with the red and the green, is that jealousy and anger, or jealousy and passion, or spite and anger, which would be what I would associate with the colours of red and green. So it's a really quick video today, just not giving any concrete answers, because I so often think with tarot, it is much better to join the dots, to look at the cards that you've got out in your spread and to find the patterns between the cards, rather than working from memorized meanings. I think memorized meanings leads you to a very linear way of reading, whereas looking at your cards and seeing the links, the similarities and the differences between the cards in a spread, I think it's a very 3D mind mapping way of reading.